as more people continue to join us, I would love to get started. I am Arshia. I work with the Circle, and today is the Circle Lab Forum virtual visit to Panaah communities and their center of excellence. This particular visit is really close to my heart and all of our hearts because Panaah communities is one of our own. Shoaib, who has been a member of the first pioneer cohort of the Circle Incubation, has been working with us for the past year, and we've seen the team at Panaah Communities develop their vision and actually bring it alive through the Center of Excellence, which you will see and witness today. Panaah believes in working for children in the communities of Pune with a focus on both learning equity and social equity. And I won't go too deep into that because Shoaib is going to share that with you. But Shoaib himself, I would love to talk about for just a minute. Shoaib is one of the most effective, efficient, but also just a leader with a lot of deep conviction, who we've seen grow and develop. But even before that, I remember interviewing you for the incubation as well, and we were just blown away. One of the panelists, who was a senior partner at a major consulting firm, said about you that this human being is scalable. We'll go to Panaah later, but this person is scalable, like your ideas and how much you believe in what you do. And so we're really excited to be able to be a part of your journey as well, Shoaib. Shoaib has been, he is an engineer by education, and he has always been entrepreneurial and always been an educator for as long as I know his journey. Ever since in college, he has been working with young people to help them reach their full potential. He has been a serial entrepreneur. He ran his own enterprise before starting in the middle, in between his college and extended out of college, and started again Panaah with other people, with other team members through his Teach for India fellowship when he realized the deep need in the community. But not just that, Shoaib also works with organizations that work on school transformation and development through Rabta, that works with schools across the country, including Andhra Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Kashmir, among others. With that, I will welcome Shoaib to talk more about Panaah.
Thank you so much, Arshia. अगर आप 1 मिनट और बोले होते तो मैं शायद ड्रॉप हो जाता कॉल से. Thank you so much. That's really sweet of you. Really very embarrassed to start the call on that note. But yeah, thank you so much for introducing. I would like to first of all share my gratitude to each one of you who has joined this session, and I'll try to just ensure that all of you take a lot of value out when you complete this virtual visit. So as Arshia has already spoken about me, my name is Shoaib, and we have been putting together this overall idea of Panaah communities, I mean, over a couple of years ago, and since last 8 to 9 months, I mean, all of us have been just, working really, very hard to put together something that we now cherish and take a lot of pride in, which we call as the Center of Excellence. And this is something that has just begun. So we as a team are also personally very, very excited about, what, the overall initiative or what this overall center can bring about in terms of change, in terms of learning outcomes for our children, and also how this overall idea of after school can just be strengthened, and how we can effectively use a lot of time of our children, which generally, is not accounted for. With this, I'll just very quickly share my screen. Let me know if that's visible. It should be now. Is it? Actually, I can see. Okay. Awesome. So yeah, Panaah communities is what we are called. We are a network of community centers. The idea of our existence, an idea of our being, is how do we actually, in its true sense, redefine how children actually spend their time after school. Now, when we look at the challenge we are addressing, or we look at the problem, I mean, like, it's twofold. When you look at the landscape of Pune, I mean, low quality of learning in municipal corporation students is one thing. And secondly, there's a very high rate of dropout. Just to give you a little bit of context for this, for every 8 um, primary schools, there is just one secondary school that exists in Pune. I think people who are in Pune and people who are in and around education might know this fact already. So there are still opportunities for students from who study in English medium school, but by and large, students in Marathi medium and Urdu medium schools face a lot of challenge. Now, compound that with the fact that PMC schools normally function for around 130 to maximum 150 or 180 days across the year, and children are spending around 5 hours, 6 hours maximum in the school. Now, if you account the overall waking hours of these children, it's around 89% of their waking hours is sort of spent out of school. So, I mean, these two things, these two chunks, this problem really hit me when I was in my fellowship, and before fellowship as well, when I was doing like a few projects. And this is when, you know, the entire team sort of came together, Sai, Arsha, Ankita, and we just thought a lot about what exactly should be done so that we address both of these issues together. So which means that how do we improve quality of learning while children are in municipal corporation schools, which means while they are in from their grade 3 to, let's say, grade 7, and a chunk of students or a bunch of students who are dropping out after grade 7. What is something that can be done, which is both effective and in the same time, I mean, now whatever I said are existing problems which are already there. Now, let us assume that whatever is happening in school is really good. Just for a second, let's say that's effective. So even if we are assuming that, still most of our schools are building skills which many employers are saying are going out of demand, which are like skills like memory skills, computer skills, ability to repeat tasks. And the reflection of it is what we see as headlines, like over half of Indian students are, they don't have skills which are relevant for 21st century, job market, and around 54% of the youth is not ready, is what, there are multiple international surveys that say that. And I mean, this is something which goes beyond survey. This is something that we also notice when we sort of interact with people, when we interact with employers, etc. This is something that's like a challenge. So at the same time, when you compound all of these three, like municipal corporation schools, the education quality, with children getting dropout, with the school systems not able to build skills which will really make our children effective or prepared for the future, specifically for the future economy. Now, when you compound all of these three things, you see who are the set of children who will be left behind the most. And it is going to be the poorest of the poor. It is going to be the students who come from high need communities, because they will be the last ones who will get access to any sort of high quality learning, any sort of high quality resources. Now, what we also realized as a big challenge was that there was a lot of resistance in a lot of people in the donor community across. When I started talking about the idea of center of excellence, even a lot of people that I met, so everyone sort of approaches the learning or the outcomes for low income students in a way that they need to get the bare minimum, like they need to read, they need to write, they just need to pass their exams, etc., to come in mainstream. But little we acknowledge that these are the ones, these are the students, these are our children who are being wronged for a very long time. And these are the ones who deserve the highest quality resources. Now, this is where, we got our why. And this is where we found, our purpose is, we just said that what would it be if we are able to create highest quality resources for the most deserving kids? What would that look like? That is when the overall idea of this Center of Excellence sort of came into existence that I'll talk about. So this is where we are. This is what we say. We are saying that we are going to reimagine how students spend their time after school. And the mission is to equip the most high need community students with skills, competencies, and mindsets that would assure and ensure that would ensure that they not just survive, but thrive in the future economy. Now, if you look at the overall approach, it's sort of like we are sort of looking at it from a twofold approach lens. So part one is working with the students who are at the risk of dropping out, and part two is working with the students who have dropped out. Now, students who have already dropped out, what we are building as an idea is really very exciting. But I don't know if I would get time to speak about that, but if I get time, I will definitely. At the moment, we are in our execution stage for our part one, which is working with the students who are at the risk of dropping out. When I say students who are at the risk of dropping out, these are children anywhere from, let's say, grade 2, grade 3 to grade 7, studying in a municipal corporation school. We feel that they are at the highest risk. Our internal research shows that any child that enters, be it from English medium, Marathi medium, and Urdu medium, they are at least 3 to 4 years behind of their grade appropriate level. Of course, COVID has its effect, but we can't deny that the overall learning quality in the municipal corporation schools are like, so yeah, so this is where the overall approach comes in. So we say that we are going to address this challenge through our through our 3 programs that we have, right? So now, we know that academics is a big challenge. We know that these children need to build skills, and then we know that we need to build awareness agency in these children as well. So that is why the programs are designed in a way that it caters to all 3. So starting with teaching at right level. So I mean, first things first, get your academics right. So we teach English, math, and Marathi, these 3 subjects. And the idea is that in a year's time, can our children bridge the gap of at least 2 years or 2.5 years. So wherever they are, can they sort of, get their basics right, get their academics right in an accelerated way. That's one. So I mean, a lot of approaches, but we are sticking with teaching at right level because we feel specifically for these set of children, I mean, what makes more sense is, having homogeneous group, etc. This is not something new that we are sort of, there's enough research at teaching at right level, and we just believe that that's the right way, catering for the kids that we cater to. Now, the exciting part is teaching at right level part 2. So students who are already at their grade level and students for whom academics is actually working, we don't want to hold them back. We really want to identify those students and push them forward, which means that we aim to prepare them for entrance exams for maybe an Afsara school, PMC scholarship exams, which make their education free till grade 12, Navodaya Vidyalaya exams, and basic Olympiads starting from district level, state level to national level. One of our dream through teaching at right level part 2 is, someday, our children go sit in international Olympiads as well. So, so that is what teaching at right level part 2 is. So children who are below their grade level and then children who are at their grade level. Now, access to labs, again, as I said, many employers are saying that the skills that are relevant or will be relevant in the next 10 to 15 years are not those which students are actually building. So this is where the idea of labs come in. So we have designed multiple labs, and that is what you will see through videos and through the live tour as well. So we starting from like an entrepreneurship lab to a tech lab, to art lab, to reading lab, etc. So there are multiple labs that we have set up. Now, the program and the content in the labs are different, but in many ways, the output and outcome is what we have aimed that it has to be similar, which means that irrespective of lab you're part of, you're building certain skills. Basically, no straightforward pen and paper exams just to understand whether kids are retaining knowledge, but the overall assessment and the design of it is very different. we have taken a collaborative approach ourselves. So each of our lab has a specific content partner. So let's say, for example, for entrepreneurship lab, we are working with Udyam Learning Foundation very closely, and they are helping us set up like a depth model. But the only catch here is we are building something with our content partners or our lab partners, something which is at depth, something which will actually, because many of our partners have their programs at scale, but what we have worked out with them is that we want to develop something together in the sense that it makes sense for all of our kids. So that's about labs. And finally, lived experience project. So every child, either individually or as a group, what they do is they pick up a problem from their community and they go through the overall design thinking process and solve this problem. And while they're doing that, they are going through all the steps in design thinking, which means that they're building a lot of agency, a lot of awareness within themselves, about themselves and their community. Now, the combination of all of three is what comes out in the end in form of a portfolio that we have envisioned for all of our children. So they earn a lot of credits from their labs, from what they do at labs. They earn a lot of credits from what they do in their lived experience projects, and they earn a lot of credits from their academics. And end of year, they develop a sort of a portfolio which is up for showcase when we do our annual event. So that is what all of it is. One thing I missed in labs. So once you commit, so there's a process through which a child selects a lab that they're going to be part of. You have to commit yourself for at least a year when you're part of the labs. In the next year, either you can choose to go to your unlock level 2 of the same lab. So let's say a child is saying, no, I want to go deeper and I want to do more in tech. I've learned coding AI and I want to go level 2. So yeah, fair enough, you can do that. Or you can switch and go to another lab as well. So the idea is if the child is staying with us for like 3 years at least, let's say from their grade 5 or grade 4 to like grade 7, across 3 years, they're getting to be part of multiple labs. They're going through various academic programs. They're at least doing 3, lived experience projects, which again, in our opinion, adds a lot of value to their own selves. Now, how does this look like operationally? So around 8 to 10 hours is what children spend working on their academics across the week, and around 3 to 4 hours, 5 hours they spend on labs, and 3 to 4 hours to 5 hours they spend on projects. Now it differs in different age groups. It differs. It is different in different centers as well. I mean, this is what we have kept as a norm. This is the bare minimum. This is not what the maximum is. So all of our centers, I'm sure they go above and beyond the time which is sort of recommended for academics and other stuff. Idea is, how do children get access to high quality learning, engage with real life community problems, and then they become critical thinkers, compassionate, etc. Ultimately, they become the drivers of change for their communities. Now there are 2 to 3 unique things, and these are things that we feel that are fundamentally very important when we talk about the sustainability aspect. So all of our programs are highly demand driven. So we spend a lot of time on understanding needs of the community, interacting with stakeholders, interacting with students, parents, etc., to understand what they are thinking and understand what they think their need is. 60% of our teachers, mentors, and staff come from the community itself, because I'm a strong believer that until and unless we are able to get people from the community to teach and from the community to bring that change, I mean, it's not sustainable, it's not feasible for us to claim that we'll bring a long-term change there. And finally, all of this innovation comes down to the cost of rupees 650 per child per month. We have done multiple, iterations of budgeting and calculations, etc., cost cutting to financials. But this is where we have arrived, which for all of that we are doing, we have a feeling that, this is something which is reasonable. Now the target is not to bring this cost down. I mean, the target is now to bring the quality up as much as possible. We did a promising pilot last year. Just wanted to share this with all of you as well. So there's a huge problem, especially in Pune. I'm not aware about. I've heard about it, but not seen any data across any other city. So a lot of students fail in their grade 9. So this year we got data that around our centers, around more than 500 students were thrown out of their schools because they failed in their grade 9. So last year we enrolled around 15 of them. So all of these students, had really, scores which were very, very low in their grade 9. But they worked with us, and we were very happy to see almost everyone passed with more than 55%. And all of them are now in their college, and all of them are now, some of them are even teaching at our center as well. So we just realized that there's a lot of potential in the overall idea of like our part 2, which is like working with dropouts, and something that really worked for us as well last year. Yeah, with this I would like to end. काफी सारे लोग कहते हैं हमेशा कि नसीब के बारे में लोग बहुत बात करते हैं, तो would like to end on this note. गालिब कहता है कि हाथों की लकीरों पे मच जाए गालिब, नसीब उनके भी होते हैं जिनके हाथ में होते हैं. Thank you. I'll pause there. So I think now we move into looking at the video. So I would hand it over to Ankita and Sai.
Yes, thank you so much, Shoaib, for this. Inviting Ankita to share a little bit about the Center of Excellence through a video walkthrough.
Yeah, so we'll be starting with the virtual tour. I start sharing the video. Please let me know if it is audible properly.
Sure.
Welcome to the Center of Excellence, a sanctuary of learning for the children.
Is it well? Is it going good?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Welcome to the Center of Excellence, a sanctuary of learning for the children. As the final bell rings in the neighboring schools, a new adventure begins right here. This very building you see today didn't always look like this. It underwent a remarkable transformation from old faded walls to a state-of-art facility for our children, a true center of excellence. For the children from high-need communities, there is a gap that needs to be filled. Many kids have no place to go after school. They could be learning, exploring, and growing, but instead, their 89% of waking hours, which they spend out of school, goes to waste by indulging in activities not conducive to their growth. Center of Excellence is here to change that, to reimagine how children will spend their time after school. At the Center of Excellence, we believe in a holistic approach to education. The three major programs at the center are TARL, which is Teaching at Right Level, Access to Labs, Lived Experience Project. In Teaching at Right Level, we have children who are below their grade level. For them, we bridge the gap in their learning journey, providing them with the support and resources they need to catch up and thrive. And those who are at grade level or above, we help them prepare for various exams and scholarships like Avsara, Navodaya, and Olympiads, opening doors to exciting opportunities and academic excellence for them. But education is not just about grades, it's about making a meaningful impact in our community. That is why we have the Lived Experience Project. In this initiative, children identify real problems within their community. They then embark on a journey through the entire design thinking process. Through their efforts, they not only increase access and agency for themselves, but also raise awareness about critical issues in their society. But that is not all. At the Center of Excellence, we go beyond traditional education. We prepare our children for the challenges and opportunities of the future economy. For that, we have state-of-the-art labs that serve as launch pads for innovation and creativity. Reading Lab, where the magic of words and stories unfolds. In the Media Lab, children will learn how to create content, relevant ones. They will learn the art of storytelling, content development, which include articulating their thoughts and ideas. Young minds delve into the world of science and technology. They learn to solve complex problems and drive innovation. In Tech Lab, kids will explore coding, robotics, AI, augmented reality, VR, which is virtual reality, and digital skills, preparing them for the technology-driven world of tomorrow. In Art Lab, children will unleash their artistic potential through painting, sculpture, and other artistic pursuits, and will also be prepared for art exams like elementary, intermediate, etc. And for the young aspiring entrepreneurs, our Entrepreneurship Lab is the perfect incubator. They will learn to turn their dreams into reality, one business idea at a time. In India and iLab, students learn the importance of constitutional values and also get to know about their civic rights and responsibilities, which in turn will help them in becoming better future citizens. Playroom is a place where children can be themselves, play, and simply be kids. And for those moments when they need to pause, reflect, and find inner balance, we have Mindfulness Room. Join us in this journey of empowerment, transformation, and to ensure that every moment beyond school counts. Together, we can build a brighter future for our children, one community at a time.
So yeah, this was the virtual tour of our Center of Excellence. And now we'll be starting with our live walkthrough, and Sai will take it from here.
Okay, thank you so much, Ankita, for that. Hello, Sai.
Hello, everyone. So right now I am at the Center of Excellence, and we'll also see some children in our labs. So let's enter the art lab first.
Sai, do you want to remove the blurry background?
Yeah, just a second.
So in the meanwhile, as Sai joins us, there's also just we have some great questions coming up. I'd recommend that whoever is watching, whatever questions come up, just ask them in a Q&A section. And if you feel like a question that you have has already been asked, upvote it, because we will ask the upvoted questions first. So keep doing that. And I think we have Sai back with us. All right. There you go, Sai. Unmute yourself and then we can get started. Yes. Sai, we still can't hear you.
Okay.
Now we-
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So here So here is our art facilitator, Prajakta Didi. Let's also hear it from her. Didi, what are the children doing today? And also show children action.
हेलो एवरीवन, माय नेम इज प्राजक्ता। ये हमारा आर्ट लैब है।
Hi, Prajakta.
तो हमारे फैमिली सेशन ले रहे हैं बच्चों का। और बच्चे से ड्राइंग कर बच्चे क्या कर रहे हो? किसकी ड्राइंग बना रहे हो? मम्मी पापा और किसकी? और खुद की? मम्मी हाय हाय करो। Thank you for watching.
And here in this corner, there are also pre-primary kids learning. Let's see. Hasnain sir will take us around.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So my name is Asnain, and here the primary kids who are learning Let's Read activities. So Let's Read the program where we can teaching how to understand phonics and the basic reading element. So it's divided in 4 levels. level 0 for nursery, level 1 like that. So these are the kids identifying the alphabet through cup activities. So they will just put the example C on this all apart. So this is one of the activities. Here are the kids learning how to state the alphabet and how to write it. So they are learning how to write it through this activity. Here, some of the kids like learning blending and segmenting and like trying to learn 3-letter word, CVC words, example. Yeah. And through these activities, in these activities, like students are like hide and seek, where the letter is hidden in the given picture, and they are identifying the number of letters hidden in that. Okay. And in this activity, again, the purpose of this activity is to identify the object related to the alphabets. Yeah. Oh. And
Thank you so much, Sai, for showing us around those two places. We are continuing. Or maybe she's walking around. Yes.
Okay, hi everybody. This is Ankita, and we are very sorry for the technical difficulties here. We are now entering the tech lab, and here you will see kids here, starting with the Scratch programming. And we have our mentor, Zainab, with us, and she'll walk us through. Yeah.
Okay, so they are doing this number 1, part 2, algorithm.
क्या कर रहे हैं?
Part 2, algorithm.
And क्या सीख रहे हो आप?
So they're doing algorithm through Scratch, which is a software through which kids can learn. Actually, any of us can learn coding, and it helps you kind of build up. I think that's what's happening. I also learned coding through Scratch 2 years ago. So cool.
Do you want to say something? आप बताना चाहोगे क्या करना? अच्छा, all of them are saying कि वो Scratch पे coding सीख रहे हैं. And this side also we have some of the kids.
Can you bring the audio closer to the?
Yeah, just a second.
Part 2, lesson number 1, coding.
और वो पूछ रही है कि आप क्या-क्या सीखा आपने और अभी क्या सीख रहे हो?
पेंगुइन को ओशन में कैसे लाते हैं?
जोर से बताओ.
हम ये सीख रहे हैं पेंगुइन को ओशन में कैसे लाते हैं, उसको मूव कैसे करते हैं.
पेंगुइन को मूव कैसे कराते हैं, ये सब चीजें आपने सीखी है. Okay. Okay, yeah. This is us from our tech lab, and I think we are ready to move on to the question answer session.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much, Panaah team, for sharing not just overall what the infrastructure looks like, but a little glimpse into some of your labs. For the question answer, I would like to invite everybody, including Ankita, Sai, Shoaib, and if we can have a few students and mentors in there as well, to respond to them. Those in the audience, please ask your questions in the Q&A, and we might bring you on to ask some of them. Don't be confused about so many Arshas. There's an Arsha in the Panaah team. I am also there. But Arsha's, I think, collating all the questions that she's seeing is coming up, but you can maybe bring it up here as well. Okay, so we have a lot of anonymous questions. Let's start first with the most upvoted anonymous questions before we move on to some of the other questions. How did you get the idea of Panaah community's need in your locality? I think this might be a great question for you, Shweb.
Yeah, I mean, there's a longer answer, but I mean, just to answer it in short. I mean, I myself come from a very similar low-income community, and I grew up, as a child there. So that thing was already always there in my head. I mean, what changed for me was, like, I always keep saying, it was my mom and her vision for my education. That is what changed a lot of life outcomes for me personally. So that is one thing that was there. Secondly, when I started working during my college days, the realization that a lot of children, did not have access to spaces itself when we walked into the community. So, for example, let's say if a child wants to engage in something, or even if they want to study, what is that space that they have? What is that access that is there beyond school that helps them, do whatever they would like to do? So that big gap was there. So always, space, because normally छोटे घर होते हैं और फिर उसके बाद कई सारी चीजें उस घर में already चल रही होती हैं. So it's always difficult for children to, sort of have that access. So that was one thing, and especially when I entered my fellowship, that was the time when this overall, the overall larger issue started becoming more and more evident. So वो काफी evident होने लगा, and that is when we just realized that one bigger problem is, of course, space. But second, if you combine this with the idea, with the problem of not having enough resources, that is what becomes like the larger chunk of the problem, and that is where the overall idea of having a space came in. And once that space was there, then we started thinking that how can we make the space in a way that it becomes inspirational for not just the children but also for the community beyond. Asha, was I able to answer this?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Shoaib, and for just bringing in your story here as well. We have a question here from someone from Bhumi Fellowship. We're going to invite you to ask this question live. And then maybe someone from the team can take this. So let us bring them live. Oh, they may not be here anymore. Annapurna. Okay, maybe I can't find them yet. But so yes, the question is, what are some steps taken to invest parents? Do you also work with schools in nearby areas? This question could perhaps be answered by someone in the team or even the students.
Yes, I mean, Ankita, Sai, if you all can hear us. The question was, what do we do to invest parents and how do we invest?
Okay. So to invest the parents, we have to make a PTMs at the center. And we have periods with the students and the students, and we have multiple activities which we do with the parents to make them understand about various things. The first which is coming to my mind is how every child works at a different pace. That's one of the activities we conduct with them. Apart from it, even when we start, when a child comes to the center for the very first time, when we are taking the baseline, right after taking the baseline, we have a feedback session with the parents where we inform them about the learning level of the. Am I audible?
No. I think there's some
Ankita,
disturbance.
Yeah, can you repeat yourself a little? And if you can take your mic closer to you a little bit.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah. So by far what I was talking about was we have regular PTMs at the center. We have PTMs with the students and without the students, and we conduct multiple activities with the parents. Apart from it, whenever the child comes for the first time at the center, when we take the baseline, right after taking the baseline, we have a feedback session with the parents where we inform them about their learning level and how we are putting them in a batch, which is a homogeneous group for the child, and he learns at his own pace. And then we have regular feedback sessions with them. So this is how we invest the parents. And apart from that, for the parents also, we have different sessions around health and hygiene and topics which are relevant for them. So yeah.
And sometimes like PTM and other session as Ankita mentioned. Yeah, am I audible? Yeah. So sometimes like to understand the dynamics of the problem and to ensure the growth of the students, one of the again most important element is to visit the home example and understand that problem. Might be sometime in PTM parents are not able to let's say share all the details, or even they might also not able to understand the complexity of the problem, yeah, deep understanding of the problem. But home visit that give that access, that give that kind of one kind of like belief, and they will like more vulnerable, and they like open up more sort of discussions which might be not shared in the PTM. So these are the things like we did with the parents investment through home visit and understanding like more than education wala part, understanding their social part as well. Okay. So in community, like different complex problem access. So we try to understand that, and whatever in our bucket, try to solve which help in the education. Yeah.
I mean, just to finally add to that, I mean, one strong factor for parents has been the overall infrastructure itself. I mean, there are a lot of researches which say that if the infrastructure and the quality of infrastructure is there, the overall investment of parents sort of increases, and they see that space as more aspirational, and they want their children to somehow get enrolled and spend their time there. To be honest, like that has played like a really strong part, because we have a lot of data before renovation and after renovation, and the way we see parent engagement increase after the overall renovation happened is sort of a testimony to the same. Just plus one to everything that Hasnain and Ankita shared.
Thank you for that. I hope that answers the question. This was a question that came up with more than one person. I would now like to invite Isha Kakkar to ask the question that they've asked in the Q&A section.
Hello. Yes. Hi. My question is, maybe you've explained it, but I couldn't catch on that earlier. But what is the selection or the admission criteria for these students? So if you could just walk us through that. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, someone from the mentors, Farooq, would you like to share how do we enroll students? What is the overall process?
Hello, I'm the mentor over here. My name is Farooq. Am I audible? Yes. The process of the admission is to first take the baseline test of the students, and after, according to the level of their how they are able to work on their not from their standard, but from their level of the knowledge at where they are. And then after making the homogeneous groups, we divide them to the groups, and two mentors. One mentor, 1:15, as a one mentor is applied for 15 students, and then we start with the basics of which all the students needs, and bridge the gaps from where they are to where we look them after the end of the year, grade level to the grade level.
Just to add to that, I mean, what Farooq explained was how do we start the enrollment. So initially mobilization happens, and we do a lot of outreach. So that is how students sort of reach out to us by themselves, and there is a lot of outreach that we also do from our end. So we do a lot of home visits, as Hasnain was explaining. Once that happens, there's like a clear-cut process that we have established. So they do their baselines. We talk to their parents. We explain their parents what they're going to, what their children are going to go through. We explain them about all the logistics. They're given their I-cards. So all the processes that you would see happening in a school, all the similar processes happen at the center as well. So the overall idea behind this was how do we make I mean, it should not come across as just like any other tuition center. So that is why, we made sure that, we put in everything that is sort of necessary. So that is what it is. We start with the first program that is around academics, and eventually, as we get to know children a little more better, we understand them a little better, they select their labs and they start working on their lived experience projects.
Thank you for that, Parag Shoaib. Bhumi, you had a follow-up question. I'm going to bring you on live, and perhaps not Bhumi. I think Bhumi is the fellowship, but maybe whoever's joining from there. If you can introduce yourself and ask your question. You are on now.
Hey, hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just curious to understand because we have some community centers as well. And currently some aspects of what you've mentioned, we are doing in terms of getting some tutors on board from the community itself. But it has been quite challenging to get youth, especially on board. So I'm wondering how you engage maybe even children who are in high school, college, graduates, and what kind of training you have for them to ensure that they are able to support the children in your centers?
Yeah. So, I mean, you have like 3 to 4 young adults in front of you who are part of it. We have in total 22 young mentors, with us who teach across 3 of our centers. So, I mean, one good thing that we have here is we have like a huge network of Teach for India student alumni in the city. A lot of students have passed out of IT schools and Akanksha schools. So they are sort of connected with us. So that's like one chunk, but not all of our students are, student alumni of Teach for India only, or not all of our mentors, but that's like a big chunk. Secondly, I mean, when you talk about engaging youth in teaching, I feel you need to identify the right people who are in some specific courses. So definitely if someone is in their graduation who is there doing their medical or maybe their engineering, they might not have that much time. But students who are doing their sciences, etc., or are doing their BCom, BA, BSc, etc., who have reduced college hours, that is what is more sustainable. In our opinion, that is what has worked. So they finish their college and they come. So now an incentive for them is sort of, a little pocket money which they are making as part of their stipend that they're getting while they're teaching. That's one. Secondly, I mean, in terms of training, that's an ongoing thing. So we spend a lot of resources on training. It starts off with like 3 to 4 day initial training, and then now we are doing a lot of trainings every week or every subsequent week. And just training alone is not something that will solve the problem. Training needs to be clubbed with coaching. So a lot of coaching goes in. So our center managers, people like Sai, Arshia, Ankita, rigorously work with these mentors. They observe their lectures and they observe their sessions and they give them rigorous feedback. They work on their feedback, come back, etc. So the skill of them teaching is incrementally built, and that is how it will happen. Definitely it is challenging. It is not that you cannot expect someone who is not seen or done teaching at any point of time come and deliver excellent lessons. That's not going to happen. But even that even getting like someone who has 10 years experience, maybe you pay 40K to them and have 10 teachers who are being paid 40K, that's also not a sustainable solution. And that's not a solution which will be scalable, right? We might have like one center but might not be able to scale that. So that is the balance that we have thought of now. As we grow and as we become, as more years pass by, I'm sure these mentors some of them may end up in Teach for India fellowship or other subsequent fellowships, etc. as well. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, we could hear you.
Okay. So if that happens, then more and more young adults would come to Panaah because they'll see Panaah as a launch pad, which will help them get their careers off the ground, right? So that is what the hope is, and that is what the long-term sort of strategy is. That is why we spend a lot of energy on building our brand and brand presence as well, so that people and young adults around us see us as aspirational. So once that starts to happen, a lot of things become easier. Yeah, I hope I was able to answer in some way, but happy to do a deeper conversation with you to share more and answer more questions and go deeper in this.
I hope that answered some of your question. So we do have a lot of anonymous questions. One of the questions that actually aligns with some of the others was, how do you design a cluster with so many activities? Like we saw STEM, we saw art, we saw language. I think this question can also be clubbed with another question, which is that what are some of the challenges you face while doing all of this? So how do you design it, and what are some of the challenges you face?
Maybe
This
Sai,
could
would
be-
you like to? Yeah, Sai, would you like to sort of take that? I mean, the question is, how do we manage all of these activities together? How do we do all of this together? So maybe, the idea of just one lab, etc., is what.
And you can also talk about some of the challenges of doing this.
So yeah, basically, the labs are also divided according to the grade groups. Also, students get to choose basically which lab they do want to indulge in. So every kid has the options to actually choose from STEM lab, tech lab, and then for basically right now we saw for pre-primary to grade 2, they have art lab, and then third to fifth have options of tech lab, as well as they have Indian Eye. So they get to choose, and they have at least 2 hours of engagement in these labs during the week. Challenge, I would just say maybe sometimes it just when there's maybe say a public holiday, schools are closed, children coming to the centers, managing their lab time and the content time, the whole time distribution. I think that's the only one challenge I think that we face. Other than that, I don't think that there's much of it other than the operational challenge.
I had a follow up to that though. So because this was a question that was earlier asked, there's also that in terms of curriculum design, like how much of your time and planning goes into that? Again, like aligned to the fact that there's so many labs at your.
Right. So for the labs, we do have knowledge partners, like we are partnering with different organizations, but with that also like contextualizing and actually having our own like having our own learning outcomes, our own set of like what do we expect. So that do take a lot of time of ours, and yeah, like it actually takes a lot of time. Maybe.
I mean, just to add to that, so the idea is along this year. So again, so the overall idea of Center of Excellence came into existence around 8 to 9 months back, and the first thing was to raise money and get this up there, so that people can see it. So that is what we were able to do, and we were able to launch on 15th of July. Now, for the next 6 to 8 months, the priority is to set up instructional excellence, both in the sense of aligning and compiling the curriculum, both with the content and data curriculum that we already have through our partners and things that we want to be added. So the idea is in the next, let's say 6 to 8 months, the idea is to codify all of this and bring this in form of modules, so that we have year 1, year 2, year 3 content ready for each of the lab. So let's say if the child is saying that, okay, I will spend 3 years in a tech lab, we need to have year 1, year 2, year 3 graded, growing curriculum for that. So that is the next step. That is what we are building. That is not completely built right now. It is in test phase. So we are testing a lot of things, then we are getting our learnings, we are telling our partners, knowledge partners, we are collaborating with them on designing. So Ankita at the moment is leading this overall effort of aligning with the partners and designing all the content across all labs. So that is about labs. And as Sai said, so the idea is each child selects one lab and they be committed to that one lab for the entire year. So it's not that every child will go to STEM and go to art and go to maybe do some media sometime. No, not that. That's not the case. We do encourage like a very rigorous process that the child goes through, and they take an informed decision why they are, So in middle, we are in middle of putting together that, and we are always revising and making that process better as we go along. So that is where we are in terms of lived experience project and teaching at right level. The good thing is a lot of content in terms of worksheets, workbooks are already available. That's already being worked upon. So so um, so yeah, so that content is sort of there. So the idea is, how do we align that and then put it all in terms of outcomes? So that's like Arshia, our team member, is our Arshia is taking care of that teaching at right level piece and the lived experience piece. So this is how we have aligned it. So then Sai, because she leads the overall center of excellence, she gets to spend a lot of time on the operational pieces and other pieces as well, alongside Hasna.
Right. So what I'm hearing is, first of all, a focus on action and iteration. That to not like wait till like there's a perfect curriculum design, but to implement and test. Secondly, I see an element of choice and mastery. So students choose where to go, or they get determined where to go, and then they kind of have to stick to a specific goal in order to achieve mastery. Third thing that I noticed was delegation of aspects of execution. So there is someone who's coordinating and doing stakeholder management, aligning in terms of the curriculum, and there's someone who's doing operational implementation. Yeah. So some of these things, in order to manage this, so to speak, like wide range of stuff, but actually this is how operational it can work. All of that really makes sense, Shoaib, and I'm sure this will be helpful to a lot of people who I know are on the attendee list and joining us through YouTube, who are running their own organizations and are looking for tips on how to do that. Asma, if we have you, I would love for you to ask your question live.
Hi.
Go for it.
So my question was that I see a lot of teenagers and I see children from underprivileged backgrounds. So I've had experience working with them. So one of my questions was, what sort of a system do you have for behavior issues? Because a lot of things tend to happen when you have a lot of teenagers and boys and girls around. So have you had those experiences and how have you dealt with them?
Can I also ask, actually, since the question is addressed at the teenagers, like for them to also just respond, like how do they work around that, more than this being an adult question?
Can you please repeat the second part of the question?
Yes. So Asma's questions were that, since you're all teenagers, so many of you are teenagers, what we often see in classrooms are teenagers. Like sometimes there's lots of energy, there's lots of questioning and lots of behavior issues, as Asma says. How do you how do you operate in the Panaah spaces? Do you see behavior issues, and if you do, how do you work around them? Are there conflicts and fights?
Is the question around, are these young adults, are mentors fighting amongst themselves, or the children who are facing
No,
behavior
no, no.
issues and mentors are dealing with the behavior issues?
No, nothing to do with mentors. I mean, I'm just
Okay.
asking that generally, when we are working with underprivileged children, or we are working with teenagers, they come with a lot of baggage. Like there's a lot going on behind the scenes. They can be having domestic issues, trouble at school. Like I generally see that a lot of counseling is required. So how do you address those emotional needs? Maybe let's take it this way. How do you address those? Because I'm sure you face them.
Yeah,
It's not possible that you have a lot of teenagers from different backgrounds who are coming in, because learning, in my experience, learning sometimes takes a backseat because of emotional upheaval kind of issues.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, I would say that we have not, we have not perfected that, and we are yet to sort of, establish like a process or like a system of sorts to deal with that fully. We do have a little bit of like a mindfulness room, but I mean, we are still looking for like a strong partner, maybe, or maybe this is something that is unaddressed, and this is something that we also really want to work on. And I absolutely agree with you, both with teenagers and even with students as well. I mean, these our children also, we when you see misbehavior or disruption in any form, that is coming from somewhere. And as you rightly mentioned, maybe like the baggage that they have, or maybe their experiences, what they're going through home,
Yeah,
their houses,
it's
etc. That's
usually a
there.
cry for help.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is something that, to be honest, it's unaddressed, and we do address it at the center level. I mean, because all of our team members, like people like Sai, Arshia, they have like amazing experience. They have their in their experience. They have been teachers for a very long time, so they address it at their level. But if you ask if there's a process or if there's like something that we have put in place, we have not. But that's like a really valuable thing, and we should think about this deeply.
Our mentors want us to add something.
Uh, Actually, yes. The question you asked was compared to my class. Like मेरे क्लास में मैक्सिमम इश्यूज होते हैं, जैसे कि बच्चा कोई किसी और से beating each other, ये बहुत कम होता है, but sometimes it happen. And behavior issues like not listening to me, और सामने से ध्यान नहीं दे रहे होंगे, या फिर आपने आपस में बातें अपने जो भी टाइम पास कुछ करते हैं, या फिर मैं कुछ क्वेश्चन करता हूँ तो वो उस पर ध्यान नहीं दे पाते हैं, या फिर नहीं देते हैं उस पर, तो ये सारे बिहेवियर इश्यूज होते हैं. बट उस पर कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस भी काफी मैंने ट्राई किया, एंड इट वर्क ऑल्सो. लाइक वी हैड टोकन सिस्टम, कि मैंने आपने कुछ अच्छा काम किया, हमने रूल्स बनाए थे, तो उस पर कुछ आपने अच्छा काम किया तो मैंने उनको टोकन दिया, रूल्स फॉलो किया तो मैंने टोकन दिया. तो वो एडिशन होने के बाद में वी हैड रूल्स का मैंने चार्ट बना के उसके ऊपर क्लासरूम में लगाया था, विच इज राइट बिहाइंड मी. जो कि रूल्स फॉलो करते हैं तो मैं उनको अप्रिशिएट भी करता हूँ और उनको टोकन देता हूँ. बट इफ दे डू नॉट फॉलो द रूल्स, तो consequences like one talking after the class or in between the class, quick reflection कि आपने क्या किया, मैंने क्या बोला था करने के लिए आपको, और आप क्या कर रहे थे, और आपको क्या करना चाहिए था. All of these questions, reflection question, quick questions, तो वो फिर आप बस आके अपना काम में वापस लग जाते हैं. Whatever work I gave them, they if there are any major issues like beating each other or abusing each other, so I take their ID cards and submit it to the submit it to the associate. फिर उसके बाद में अगर मुझसे वो समझता नहीं है तो फिर आई पुट ऑन टू सही दीदी. तो सही दीदी से आप बात करते हैं, उसके बाद में फिर पेरेंट्स कॉल वगैरह जो भी फॉरवर्ड कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस होते हैं, देन इट्स टू ऑन टू सही दीदी. एनीवन वांट्स टू स्टार्ट?
मैं मेंटर फ्रॉम पना. तो सबसे पहले तो हम बच्चों के साथ डेवलप गुड रिलेशनशिप टीचर एंड स्टूडेंट. सबसे पहले उनके साथ रिलेशन बिल्ड करते हैं, फिर उनका मेंटल एबिलिटी को जानने की कोशिश करते हैं. बच्चा क्या है, कैसा है, किस तरह से बिहेव करता है. पर एक दो चार फिर हमको पता चल जाता है बच्चे का बिहेवियर क्या है, कैसा है, किस तरह से. उसके बाद अभी क्लास के अंदर, मेरी क्लास के अंदर बच्चों का अलग अलग बिहेवियर रहता है. कभी कुछ बच्चे बहुत ज्यादा मस्ती करते हैं, किसी को कंसंट्रेट रहता नहीं है पढ़ाई में. तो उस वक्त मैं क्या करती हूँ, उनको पूरे बच्चों को एक साथ सर्कल में ले लेती हूँ और फिर उनके साथ कुछ फीलिंग शेयर करती हूँ, उनके पर्सनल बारे में पूछती हूँ. मतलब उनका घर में क्या था, ने क्या किया, क्या बनाई, क्या था. इस तरह से उनका पूरा जो माइंड है वो मेरी तरफ कन्वर्ट करने की कोशिश करती हूँ. पर जब उनका माइंड पूरी तरह से मेरी तरफ हो जाता है, मतलब वो पूरी तरह से कन्वर्ट हो जाते हैं, कुछ अलग अलग बातें बोलते, अलग अलग थिंग्स जानने के बाद फिर मैं क्या करती हूँ, उनको पढ़ाने की कोशिश करते हैं. उसके बाद उनकी पढ़ाई शुरू होती है. इसी तरह से फिर मैं क्लास कंट्रोल करती हूँ.
Thank you for that. I think that was pretty comprehensive, like different ways of kind of responding. Thank you so much, team. We have a couple of anonymous questions left. One is around fundraising. There was actually many questions. Basically, I've kind of like kept one there because there were several people. But in general, this question arose right in the beginning when you were talking about the labs. And I'm sure when they see like the infrastructure of Center of Excellence, and then they also think about to maintain these labs, how do you like, what's the overall strategy? If you could like encapsulate that maybe for people. The question here that I've kept open is, what would you suggest in regard to a novice to fundraising?
Awesome. Arsha, what did you say last? What would you suggest? If this is Q&A?
Yes, the question, the additional question that
In
has been
regards
asked
to
is novice.
okay, so I don't think so I have any suggestions because I am on novice in fundraising myself. Um, so when it comes to infrastructure, it is tricky, and I'll tell you why it is tricky for a new organization because normally till the time you're not 3 years old, you'll not be able to take any CSR money. So general tendency, what I have observed in the overall donor community, there is a lot of resistance to invest anything in infrastructure. So that is what we face as well. But thanks to our partners, Literacy International, which is a US based non-profit, they came in with their support and they fully supported the overall infrastructure development, and without them this wouldn't have been possible. So we were lucky, and it was meant to be. We found them, but raising for infrastructure in India for a new organization is tough. It is challenging. It's not that easy. But once you have CSR, because then it's all about research. You need to know that who are your donors, and who are your CSRs who have a track record in investment in infrastructure, right? There are people who do it. I'm not denying. There are no people. There are no one does infrastructure, but especially philanthropists and maybe donors that we had in our early days were the ones who were more sort of system level donor who sort of likes to find human resource more. So that is your research. That is your identification. Okay, it is tough. Second thing that helped us really well was having the overall TFI Connect and the TFI network. So being a Teach for India fellow, you get access to that network. So we had that. Teach for India Pune team was fully behind us, and all credit where it's due. They were the ones who sort of pushed us and made this overall thing happen. They made all the right connects for us. They ensured that we get to speak to people who we wanted to or we had to. So that happened, and finally, getting connected to the overall circles network as well has helped quite a bit. At times, it's not just about getting money from someone; it is also about getting um, someone to talk about you. So even if that happens, that ripple sort of gets created, and as people who are in that position of power, etc., get to know about you and they start talking about you, then automatically, somehow, um, the money will come to you. So that is something that I have total conviction in. So I mean, first thing first, get your programs right, get your problem statement right, understand deeply what you're trying to solve. That is like the first part of fundraising. I mean, that in your head, if it's like absolutely clear, I think then the path of fundraising becomes easier. And then engage with the group, engage with the network, engage with people who are doing similar work, etc. Try to find a coach. I mean, Madhukar being alongside was like a big help. In fact, Sandeep, right from very early days, early 2020, Sandeep kept having conversations, kept giving me ideas, etc. I would say funding in many sense is just an outcome. It's just a final outcome of it, and funding comes along. I mean, other things are like crucial and important, and sort of funding falls in place ultimately.
Yes. Thank you, Shoaib, for that. Shoaib has also shared with us contact details in case anybody wants to go deeper and have deeper conversations around any of this. You can reach out to us. You can reach out to Amina. You can reach out to me, and we can share contact details to talk more about this. But overall, I think the themes that we heard were just leveraging your network and starting to talk to them, even if it's not the ask is not directly money. Getting champions to talk about you even when you're not in the room, knowing that there are like 5 people who will talk about you even when you're not in the room, and making sure you know what they are saying. So I think some of these things even I'm learning from Shoaib. With that, I actually come to the last question for the day, which is I mean, an anonymous person asked this question, but there were different ways of this question as well. So how can we take part in or be a part of Panaah? And I think you could answer it in 2 points. One is people who are in Pune, how can they support and be a part of it? And people who are not in Pune.
I mean, people who are in Pune, this center is yours. Come at any point of time, make it your own. If you're working somewhere else, come work from here. If it is work, if it's your like, if you're working virtually, spend time with us on weekends, etc. Whatever you want to do, you can do. We have a lot of opportunity and scope, and we can talk more. People who are not in Pune, we want a lot of help to bring together our overall concept of labs. If you are anywhere closely interested in what we talked about when we spoke about labs, we really want support and we really want help. And we really want people who, join Ankita in this overall mission that she is on over the next 6 to 8 months. So that is the second thing we are looking at. And finally, overall communications. So because we have done like reasonably well, I would say that, I mean, in terms of communications, we want to strengthen that. So people who want to join us in terms of social media and in terms of other communication strategies, etc. So there are two areas which we can operate virtually on. Apart from that, it's like totally operational.
All right, so there you have. You can be a part of Panaah. Just show up and speak to people in the team, and there will be a way to contribute. I actually, as I was looking at the final question, there is one more question. I think that should be it. Anuja, we'll bring you live to ask your question. It's the final one, so make it good.
Hi, Shreya. Congratulations for such a beautiful, wonderful center. I will definitely visit you. My question was, itne sare bacche jo hain, have you ever done any assessments, or have the schools done any assessments ki unko koi specific learning disabilities hai kya, unke paas IEP hai kya, koi case manager hai kya, wo sab kiya hua hai?
Schools ने तो specifically नहीं किया है, but we have identified a few cases, but I wouldn't say हम लोगों ने professionally इसको भी identify किया है. We are working with Anjali Morris Foundation. I mean, we are talking with them. We are trying to bring them on board because we realize we don't have that expertise, and they are the ones who will do the entire thing, right from testing to counseling sessions to teaching sessions to getting their LD certificates. Like A to Z is what they will take care of. So we just realized that it's better because normally 5% of your total, because abhi bacche kam hai, enrollment is around 110, and slowly steadily everyone, because we have a lot of demand, but we are enrolling enrolling new students slowly. But when this number goes on to like 300 or 300 or 400, jab chala jayega, because our capacity is around 650 for the center of excellence, तब ये नंबर बड़ा हो जाएगा. So 8-10% भी हुआ तो 30-40 बच्चे हो जाएंगे. So we realized that it's better to have like a partner in Anjali Morris Foundation से बात कर रहे हैं, और एक दो और इस तरह के potential partners है. We will most likely outsource this. I mean, they will come here, take sessions at the center, बच्चे वहाँ travel करेंगे, वो logistics है वो figure out हो जाएगा. But having like a trained partner, a professional to deal with special needs is something that we realized.
Excellent. बढ़िया.
और रिसोर्सेज अगर आ जाते हैं तो वी विल आल्सो गेट अ काउंसलर ऑन बोर्ड. अभी मतलब जैसे पता है ना, आई एम स्टिल नो वॉइस इन फंड रेजिंग. पैसा रेज हो गया तो वील गेट समवन इन हाउस आल्सो.
Thank you. Thank you for that question also, Anuja. I think great question. And maybe it kind of is a great way to end because we're now looking at all the things that Panaah is yet to do and is on the path to doing. I now would love to just, take this opportunity to thank all the young mentors at Panaah, Ankita, Sai, and Shoaib. Thank you for joining us today and giving us a glimpse into what the magic that goes on at Panaah. I hope I can visit it very, very soon in person. I would also really recommend to everyone who's in Pune to find opportunities to collaborate and work with Panaah and see where that goes. If you need any contact details, I'll be happy to share it with everybody. With that, we're going to bring this to a close. Labs will be back soon. Happy Teachers Day, by the way, to everybody who teaches and everybody who has been someone who's created a space for learning, whether in a classroom or outside. And thank you, Panaah, for doing this for us today on Teachers Day. Labs will be back with some more some more challenges, some more forums, some more discussions. And soon we will be starting with our innovation funding grant, where we work with teachers around the country who have interesting projects that they want to implement and who need just a little bit of nudge through micro grants. We'll be opening that up very, very soon. We will also be coming to different cities, including Pune, to do in-person workshops around redesign. And maybe we might do one at Panaah. And we also will be launching a starter program very, very soon, something that Shoaib was a part of many moons ago. And yeah, hope to continue to be connected to all of you with all our upcoming programming. Thank you for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. Have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Arshia. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Bye-bye. Take care. Good night.
Thank you. Bye.